It is June 27th, 2018. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Justin LaBar. Going to talk about SmackDown Live for June 26th. Team Hell No is back, is the big takeaway from last night. Kind of an interesting episode of SmackDown. So, Justin, correct me if I'm wrong, but a good portion of the SmackDown roster is in Japan, correct?
I believe that is the case, yeah. So they were working on bare minimums.
Yeah, I mean, kind of an interesting show and how they threw something together that, didn't have access to all the talent. But, man, I think a lot of people tuned out by that main event last night, even with Daniel Bryan and Luke Harper. I think there was a clue when it started at about almost with a half an hour left to go in the show, that something major was going to happen. But I don't think anyone saw that coming. I think I joked about Kane coming to be Daniel's partner with the Bludgeon Brothers, and everyone was like, oh no, he's too wrapped up in politics, he's got the mayor stuff going on. So it definitely was a surprise last night. But all in all, what did you think of SmackDown?
All in all, it was okay. Yeah, you definitely could notice that they weren't working with the full deck, the full roster. But it wasn't a bad show. I mean, I will say that there were things that again kept me interested. I like seeing Becky Lynch, and she's continuing to win. Daniel Bryan's never a bad thing. You see, the Miz. I mean, so I thought for what they had to work with, they probably made the best of what they could, and they managed to finish strong, which with the surprise. And so again, we're not having the whole depth chart to work with. I think that's a pretty big accomplishment. I mean, many people say that Raw has an entire roster, and put some people to sleep week in, week out. So,
no, absolutely, man. So for people that don't know, Raj Giri is on vacation this week, and he should be back Monday night for Raw. But
can we just say what they say about the coach when the coach is going? Raj has been designated he's on assignment for this week.
On assignment, yes. Coachman goes on assignment, never seems to come back the better for it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
When David Otunga's out shining you, but the other coach has such passion. It's just I think a 3-person commentary team's hard. I know we're totally veering off. I think a 3-person commentary team is hard for anybody to adapt to. So I give the coach that. It's hard to do.
It's just weird though, because Corey Graves, I don't know if he's got some weird Dennis Miller-like ability to just, his brain's a computer and he shoots this stuff off rapid fire. I don't know if he spends his day on Wikipedia and then has note cards in front of him. I'm going to work this in later tonight. But Corey Graves brings his A game so much that Coachman, just looks, JBL sounded drunk for his later years on commentary, but I think JBL had more commentary gold in the random things he would spout out.
Yeah, he did have some Mago. But Corey Graves it is tough to keep up with Graves. It's hard probably for anybody who's in that third spot. Michael Cole's steering the ship. Graves has got his one-liners. So it's probably hard whether you're Saxton, Booker, Otunga, Coachman. It is probably a tough thing to try to keep up with Corey in that regard, because he does bring his A game. You're absolutely right about that.
And Michael Cole's just on autopilot at this point. I'm sure he's at catering, and it's like that bad Rob Schneider SNL sketch. He's just, the big dog, Roman Reigns, getting some waffles. It's boss time, Sasha Banks. Try the fruit, it's good today.
Are you saying Michael Cole's going to turn into the next Brockmeyer?
It's possible.
Have you seen that series at all? You got to watch Brockmeyer.
No, I've heard very good things about it, though, with Hank Azaria.
Classic stuff.
Yeah, no, man. But yeah, Cole, I think, is just at this point, if he's not on autopilot, how do you remain invested at this stage in the game? He's been doing this for such a long time. But yeah, last night on SmackDown, we opened with Miz TV, and the Miz bringing out the Bludgeon Brothers. I got to say, Rowan and Harper, I think since they've normalized them and made them more of an integrated part of the roster, I feel like this gimmick has been working better. But it's funny with that setup at the end that they're getting that title shot at Extreme Rules against Team Hell No, that I don't know. I worry that the title is going to change hands, although I think not the most practical thing in terms of logistics, right? Because Kane can't be putting in that much time.
Yeah, I don't know if I see a Team Hell No winning the titles, and I don't know if you want to see that. Obviously the big question is Daniel Bryan's contract. We know September 1 is the date. We don't know if he's re-signed yet. We don't know. True. So if you see it, to me it looks like, okay, you have this match at Extreme Rules. And then the obvious SummerSlam would be Miz and Daniel Bryan. Because if Bryan doesn't resign, you at least want to get the payoff for this match that they've been intentionally or unintentionally building to for the better part of 2 years between he and the Miz.
Yeah.
And even if he does resign, you still have the match at SummerSlam, and you can build off of that, and it goes wherever it goes. So I don't really see room for why Team Hell No would win this. To me, actually, I look at this as this would be a good, this would be a good thing on the resume for the Bludgeon Brothers to beat a fan, to beat a team that's very over. Nostalgia always works, and especially nostalgia was something that was truly successful and over like this. I mean, this really was the start of the S movement before in Pittsburgh. Fittingly enough, where Bryan's going to come with Team Hell No in a few weeks. Before he was shunned to the Rumble at Pittsburgh, which really started, which really took it off. But the Yes movement really started with Team Hell No. So, the nostalgia works. I kind of look at that as a chance for Harper and Rowan to get one over on Bryan and Kane, and it can very easily happen, even maybe by a Miz interference or a Miz distraction potentially. So that's kind of how I look at it. I'm not really expecting the titles to change hands, and I don't know if I wanted them to change hands again. If I'm thinking from a Daniel Bryan fan perspective, I don't think him as a tag team champion again with Kane is the best thing moving forward.
Yeah, I think it's a short-term, huge boost and bump, boost up the ratings a little bit, maybe get some people back watching the product. But yeah, long-term, I don't see how that really works in anyone's trajectory for the title to switch to them. I thought the Miz TV segment was all right. I feel, again, the Miz sets the bar so high with these that anything good, is just not great. And still, though, I think Daniel coming out and interrupting them, that match being made later in the evening, this being the through line. I even liked how Miz sort of broke down the 3-act structure idea and, telling the story of this feud. The WWE normally doesn't get so meta with things.
They don't, and I think maybe part of that's because they don't let things breathe enough because they're just constantly, and the machine is in full motion. But again, they've been intentionally or unintentionally building this thing with Miz and Bryan for over 2 years, and for a period of the build, it looked like, oh my God, is this like a real thing going on because Bryan can't fight, and here they are yapping on a talk show with each other. So it felt organic. There was not that sense of, okay, the writers handed in the script and they're executing the script. It felt like here was the Miz, who, I don't know, Glenn, if you've ever interviewed the Miz with your media stuff. I mean, I probably interviewed him more than anybody else in the current roster, mainly because they just constantly make him available in person, phoners, whatever. So, and I probably over 6 times I've interviewed the Miz. He's always great, but the one common thing besides him being great is he's always in character. He doesn't drop to Mike Mizanin. He is always the Miz, which is why he's so effective with it. And so when he did all that stuff on Talking Smack with Bryan, it literally, you could buy in and say, okay, here's this guy who's always a little bit cocky and abrasive, and he's taking a shot at Daniel Bryan, and Bryan can't do anything physical, blah, blah, blah. So, like, it felt truly organic. Luckily now we're getting blessed with hopefully the payoff that's going to come, thanks to Bryan being, reinstated.
I've rewatched that Miz promo probably a dozen times in the last 2 years.
The one from Talking Smack?
Yeah, and I still think it's just one of the best things I've ever seen in professional wrestling in my lifetime.
And then they canceled Talking Smack.
Yeah, exactly, right? Although with the Fox deal, who knows? There was talk of FS1 getting a show.
And I think you will. I think, no, not to jump ahead to that topic, but I think we will get the most honest attempt at a true talk show about WWE. We will get that with Fox. It's not to say there won't be some nudge at the script and some pushing the agendas, but I think that they will try to make an honest attempt and maybe bring people outside of the Renee Youngs, outside of the WWE people, to try to make it feel, feel like it's a talking point, water cooler kind of thing.
Because we didn't even get a post Money in the Bank show. They're not even doing the sort of hybrid Raw Talking Smack after the pay-per-views now. But yeah, I thought the Miz breaking down the Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 was good. Just speculation, I think that's a Vince McMahon thing, and I think he probably tries to justify things that way backstage. Like, Mike Kanellis, you're getting a match this week. So here was Act 1. You came back to the WWE with Maria. Act 2, you sat in catering for a year. But Act 3 is tonight when you go out there and you lose a match. And I didn't say it was a positive 3-act story. It's really a tragedy. But that's really the structure I see that we've been telling your journey here to the fans.
I don't know what's funnier, your reenactment of that or the fact you think Vince is talking to Mike Kanellis.
Hey, at some point, right, in the hall, he probably breaks it down, or Mike maybe just hangs out around his office. You know what I'm saying, Vince, can I just get a minute of your time?
Mike and Maria are hanging outside of Vince's office, and Vince only acknowledges Maria.
Yeah, it's like, bring Maria in here. Mike, you can stand there.
Mr. Kanellis, you can wait out there.
Yeah. Oh, man. How's he doing? What have you heard? They were both backstage. That photo they posted, I think, at Money in the Bank, right?
Yeah, I think I was actually talking about them the other day to somebody. I think they are getting close. I think there's a lot of positive in their world. They had the personal life from getting clean to family and everything. So I think they probably are on the radar to get back into the swing of things. It's just a matter of one, just getting back in the swing of things, obviously with live events and such, and then two, for TV purposes, finding what do we have for them, as something, a question that you can ask for several other people.
Yeah, when I went to a WWE live event in Sacramento a few months ago, I did see one of my favorite things I've seen at a house show, which was Mike was tagging, I can't remember, with Epico against the New Day, but Big E doing his sexy interpretive dance to Mike Kanellis' theme song was something else.
That's the thing people might not, obviously smarter, the fans that are probably listening and watching this, house shows aren't real appealing in the sense of, okay, we know that, like, rarely is a title going to change. Rarely, nothing of, nobody's making a return, unless it's one of the big things of like Brock appearing, unless it's one of the big house shows that they sometimes even they're, network televised now, it's not real exciting. But I'll say this, if you go to a house show, if you watch closely, you will get to see these guys have a lot more fun, because and many of them will tell you, if you get them to speak honestly, they'll say they have TV's fun, but TV's a stressful, because of TV cues. But these shows, they get to try things out, they get to have fun. They, maybe they even break a little character, in matches. So that's, if you want a reason to go to a house show for something to do on a Saturday night, if they're in town, you get to kind of see them break the fourth wall a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's definitely live theater. More so than TV, because they're not worrying about where their cameras are. I mean, they're just, and they seem into it. I don't think, actually, Darren Young, the last time I saw him at a house show, shortly before he was released, one of the few instances I've had of seeing someone just looking bored and over it at a house show. Most of the time, I'm surprised how much these guys bring their A game, to towns like Stockton, California. Shout
out to Stockton.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So we had Xavier Woods versus Rusev last night, speaking of the New Day. And, yeah, man, they're building Rusev for his title fight with AJ Styles at Extreme Rules. What did you think of this match?
It did the job. It's still a little bizarre to me. I'm kind of at confusion because, 1 minute it looks like WWE's embracing Rusev. It's like they're saying, okay, we're going to embrace the fandom behind the Rusev Day thing, and he beat The Miz 2 weeks ago to earn the #1 contendership. He shakes AJ's hand, but then this week you have him against a very over babyface member of the New Day. So, and then the promo afterwards. So I don't know if where the schizophrenia or who the schizophrenia is with internally of where he is. I mean, I know he's facing a babyface champion in AJ, but certainly we've seen face versus face before. So that's what's kind of throwing me. But nonetheless, it's good for Rusev. I'm not expecting Rusev to win the title at all, but it's good. But it's still not a bad thing that you're in a title match for pay-per-view against AJ freaking Styles. So I'll be very interested. I'll be there live watching. I'll be very interested to see, how much they give Rusev. What kind of a match it is. How long does it go? What kind of offense they get in? What, when the match is over, what do I feel about him? Do I feel like he's gonna stay in the top part of the card, or is he just gonna get recycled back through?
It's really the opposite of Raw, right? I mean, if you look at SmackDown, and SmackDown's been on this hot comeback streak for the better part of the last 6 months, giving us Shinsuke versus AJ, giving us now Rusev versus AJ. Meanwhile, on Raw, it's still Brock and Roman when Brock is even mentioned or shows up.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is very opposite.
Yeah, and I mean, I dig that. I like that they're listening to it. This will be a good program, and I think it already is. I mean, it's already been very, very entertaining. So we'll see. But Rusev, got Xavier to tap out with the accolade last night, and I think he's going to win and win and win until he loses to AJ Styles. But hopefully, the match is fantastic. That'll
be a fresh match. I mean, maybe they have a live event, but I don't think we've ever seen that on TV.
Didn't we maybe once, or maybe it was a tag or something, but I seem to recall some variation in the last year. Who knows? It's hard to keep track. Shinsuke Nakamura, unable to compete last night due to an injury, so his match with Jeff Hardy postponed. Is it true what Meltzer said, he was bit by a police dog leaving the arena in Bakersfield?
I mean, if Meltzer's throwing darts against the wall, that's a hell of a dart to throw on that one. I mean, I assume that that's for real. I don't know why he'd make that one up, or how one of his sources would give him would the bad reception on the phone. All of a sudden, he misinterprets it's bitten by a dog.
No stereotypes about Bakersfield, California, but that sounds like the most Bakersfield shit I've heard in a long time.
I mean, like, I have family that work in the police. I've been around police dogs. They're pretty well trained. I mean, they usually don't like do anything like that unless provoked. It makes me wonder, what the hell does Shinsuke Nakamura's legs smell like?
It's true. I mean, how does that even?
Maybe it's just the body wash he used that day. I don't know, but like, what? I don't know. That's a pretty wild story. A dog bites your a drug dog. I don't know. Police dog bites your leg.
I think WWE Storytime needs to get into rush production on animating what happened here, because I think the people want to know the details.
Shinsuke said, "No speak English," and the dog got mad, and then Shinsuke went, "Come on!"
Man, I mean, no one tries to pet a police dog. I don't know. It's very weird. I need more details in this story.
Being bit by a police dog backstage at a live event sounds like something Enzo Amore would have said happened to him.
That absolutely does sound. Did you listen to Enzo's interview with Stone Cold Steve Austin?
I did. I read the transcript, and then actually, it's funny you said this morning. I don't know why. The curiosity just killed me. I finally read the lyrics, and then I listened to the rap song that Enzo, the real one, excuse me, did. Read the lyrics first, so you can just try to like read them and understand them, and then listen to if you dare. Yeah, I did. I can't get that 5 minutes back.
I thought the podcast, I go back and forth. I mean, I'm just angry. I don't know if I'm angry at him. I'm angry at the situation. I'm sad. Like, I feel these emotions, but listening to that interview, he says a lot of stuff where and every time that I feel something positive towards him, it's like, yeah, but you screwed this up, or yeah, but then this happened. And, I don't know. I mean, I know this is still, going to be a cloud hanging over him forever due to this allegation. But I just think this whole thing, I mean, is just tragic, his situation. Cautionary tale, both him and Cass.
It stood out to me, the things that he said in that interview. And again, if it truly is the case that where, he was unfortunately the accused in a very false situation, I do feel bad for him. But then when you hear him saying in the comments that he's like when he says to Vince, like, I deserve better than this, or I think he said when he got fired, he was like, your loss, not mine. It's like, those are things you can think, but don't, like, if you like, do you really say that in the professional world? I don't know,
Well, but again, it's his version of reality, and I think he is very much someone living the gimmick. Did you listen or watch the Simon Gotch interview where we talked about Enzo's rap song?
Again, no. I read a transcript saying that he's either something or a monster. I think was.
Yeah, he's either a terrible human being or a monster. But if you go back earlier in that, and now I hate to say it, but my thought watching the Gotch thing was like, I really hope some promotion books Enzo versus Gotch, because there's so much real life heat between these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, Ring of Honor, TNA could probably do something with it. But I thought what was fitting is that Gotch talked about that Enzo sees himself like Snoop Dogg coming out doing Murder Was the Case at the VMAs. That's how Enzo saw Phoenix. Like, this was his moment to, blow everybody's mind, set the record straight, clear his name.
And Snoop Dogg, I don't know, a rap icon and does hip hop for a living. Enzo, it just sounded bad. I don't know.
Yeah, I watched that thing he talked about that he released on his Instagram story, that 9-minute long homage to Do the Right Thing. And I have to say this, okay? So even if you think Enzo is a total shitbag person, which I know a lot of people do, and they will forever think that because of the allegations against him, if you watch this and you see he did one take and he's doing like this part monologue rap thing where he's talking about politics and society, and he's really like breaking it down on multiple levels, all I could think was like, again, this is either really sad or just this guy wasted an incredible amount of talent that he was able to pull something like this off, talking. I don't care if it was memorized top of his head or what. Either way you watch that, you look at the stuff he put into filming it. I mean, yeah, it's just, this is, again, it's just either the biggest self-inflicted wound we've seen in quite some time in this business, or, the most unfortunate set of circumstances that happened to a guy.
The guy is definitely talented. That should never be lost in any of this. again, it sucks that he even got called up and even in this potential situation to be even put potentially in this. It's sad that he's even having to deal with that, and maybe it's something to him that he needs to learn from. Of beware of the company you keep. But all that judgment aside, the dude is super talented, and it is unfortunate that he's not able to have those talents continue to be exploited and utilized and make him money in WWE. That's why I'm a little bit surprised when he says, and of course he wouldn't be the first wrestler to say this and go back on it. I'm a little bit surprised when he says he's never going to get in a ring again and that he's just moved on from that, because to me it's like, well, you just have, not that you can't use your gift for gab and charisma in other ways, but it just seems like this in pro wrestling is just a natural with you. And again, some people have made their mind up about him, and so he has heat with him, whether he deserves it or not. So use that for pro wrestling. That's pro wrestling, right? Is emotion and heel and face. So to me, it's like, go use that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
if you watching him get the crap kicked out of him before, if you think that concept about now, you're really gonna love Simon Gotch beating him up.
Right. So that's a little shocking to me that because I'm sure that he would be able to get some nice paydays going to whether it's Impact or wherever. So that surprises me. I'm wait to see if he really holds to that, but who knows? Yeah,
we'll see, man. So back to SmackDown. Yeah, but I recommend to people, if check that out. If you're a fan, if you're still forming your opinion of the situation, that interview was definitely something else on Stone Cold's latest podcast. And with Shinsuke Nakamura, well, we'll find out what happened between him and the dog. Anyhow, this led to last night a U.S. Title open challenge between Jeff Hardy. Man, his makeup is on point lately. His makeup, no offense to Jeff Hardy, but his makeup used to look good, but not great. Now I think he's bringing it with Finn Balor, Goldust, and the best of him. Doing this open challenge last night with Eric Young from Sanity. Sanity, they debuted last week, and they had this interference by the Usos. So Eric Young won by DQ, but he still lost. And Sanity still got a loss their second week out.
Yeah, this one's kind of baffles me. I know that somebody's got to win, somebody's got to lose, but I'm just shocked to see Sanity, all three of them in this once they made a 6-man lose.
Yeah, it became a tag match. That's right.
Yeah. And back to Jeff Hardy's makeup, I gotta say it is on point, and it makes me, it makes me go, okay, look, any wrestler that's had extensive makeup that wears extensive makeup as part of their character can tell you, it looks awesome. The whole effect with his eyes shut and everything, it looks awesome. But now, every time they need you just for a promo, even if you're done wrestling for the day, or even if you're not even needing the ring, now every time they need you for a promo or to record something for digital, whatever, you got to get that damn get up on. Now he's set him up. Now he's set himself up where he can't just hang out in catering. Now he's got to get that damn thing going, and he's got to get all the makeup on, But hey, props to him for commitment to the character. It looks really good.
Well, it's like that every time you would see Goldust backstage, or they'd have a run out, and you think, is Dustin made up every week backstage, or did they just tell him like, "Hey, we need you in the background of this shot, get in full dress"?
Right. Yeah.
Because it's a lot of effort for not being used.
I don't blame the Demon. I don't blame Finn Balor's Demon for not showing up, but only for the major pay-per-views. It takes like hours to get that crap together. So
what is going on with that? I keep seeing that come up again and again and again. What is going on with Finn and the Demon? Because we haven't seen the Demon in quite some time.
Well, it's one of those things to where, we haven't seen in a while, but it's like when you have an alter ego like that, one, I think when you have an alter ego like that, this is what it is for me. Finn is a really good performer in the ring, but once I see the Demon alter ego, it makes then regular old Finn just kind of bland to me. But it's like, once you have that alter ego, you can't show weakness in that alter ego, else that alter ego doesn't matter anymore. And we've seen the Demon lose. We've seen the Demon have some weakness since leaving NXT. So I don't know where the value. I don't know when we see him next. I'm not sure what the. When he becomes a Demon, something different and special needs to happen, but I haven't entirely seen that. So
it's the Teen Wolf paradox. Michael J. Fox wanted to prove to himself he could win without becoming the Wolf. So I still think Finn just needs to say something like that, and it'll all again fall into place with context.
I haven't seen that movie in so many years. Now you're gonna have to go back and watch that.
Oh, it is not aged well. It's aged terribly.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's not the Michael J. Fox of Back to the Future. That's the Michael J. Fox in Teen Wolf. It was like he's doing a serviceable job, but this is not America's sweetheart in that film. And
he didn't go with the blonde because the blonde, she wasn't a good person. He went with the best friend brunette, right?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, Teen Wolf. So it became a 6-man tag last night, and Sanity versus the Usos and Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy and the Usos won. Jeff hit the Swanton Bomb on Wolf for the pin. How are you feeling about Sanity in week 2 when they're losing?
Well, it doesn't look good that Sanity loses in week 2, and they lost by a guy who looks crazier than them. Jeff Hardy looked like he could be part of Sanity. You know, it looks like, I mean, he could be the. You know, I don't really know what it doesn't really do him any favors. And again, I know that somebody has to win and somebody has to lose, but that's supposed to be the magic about pro wrestling. It's supposed to book in a way and you can have finishes in a way that leave more to be desired, but nothing was left to be desired about Sanity when this is over.
Yeah. Oh man, so Becky Lynch versus Sonya Deville. Someone DM me on Twitter and said you have to refer to Sonya as the Pride Fighter, and I was like, that's good. I'm gonna do that. Sonya is looking great. Oh,
because she's a lesbian.
She is, but also it's Pride Month, and she was wearing her Pride ring gear. So
that's right, she was.
Yeah, 89 the Brainchild tweeted that at me, and I was like, yes, I like that. That's nice. But no, I think, and her interview, by the way, with Lillian Garcia on Lillian's podcast was really, really good. She interviewed all of Absolution, but I think Sonya's story is really worth listening to. But Becky Lynch last night, continuing this winning streak. Let's talk about this match last night. Well, I want to get your thoughts on that, but then beyond that, I want to jump off and talk a little about where they're going with Becky from here. So what did you think of this match last night?
Well, let me start with the entrances. I want to give some. I love the spotlight strobe on Sonya Deville, and she does the shadow boxing real fast for like 5-10 seconds. I think that's a great. She looks like a badass. It looks cool. It's a great visual. It's something that looks fitting for somebody who you're presenting with legitimate fighting. It looks like somebody you could have gave to Bobby Lashley or Ken Shamrock or anybody that has that real fighting. So I love the entrances, specifically that. Yeah, Matt. Becky Lynch is on a roll. I am surprised though on the fit. I mean, Becky made Sonya tap, which that's what kind of surprised me. They chose to end it on a submission, when again Sonya kind of has like this like legit fight thing. I don't know. The finish was not what I expected, so to speak. But I'm a big Becky Lynch fan, so I am interested to see where the hell they're trying to build to with this.
Yeah, I mean, Charlotte is out until she can be back by Extreme Rules, or you think they'll hold her off until after that?
I would hold her off. There's not really, I don't know what you have for her. So.
Yeah, so the question is, I really think Becky's future is tied to Charlotte's at this point, because if they're going to Charlotte versus Carmella next, that means Becky's not getting a title shot. Maybe they put her in a feud with Asuka. If they're going to keep Carmella and Asuka going, does that mean we open up this women's tag idea because Becky and Charlotte are the most obvious choice? I'd love to see Becky put right into the title picture, but just something in my heart tells me that's not going to happen, partially because the fans want it so bad.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they go with Becky. It does kind of seem like both title pictures, Raw and SmackDown, are kind of on a lockdown at the moment. So I don't know where they go. I mean, they seem to have a plan with Becky, because the fact that they continue to make sure they get her on TV every week, she's getting wins that mean something. They have an end goal. I don't know what that end goal is, but they see something. So that so it may be very possible that something in the works that we've talked about in the past, like a women's only show, that she's going to have a focal point to that. The Mae Young Classic was going to be coming up later this summer. Not that she would be in it, but maybe something of a winner from that, something with Becky. I don't know, but it certainly seems like they have some in-game plan with Becky right now, because they are committed to her. And when they're committed to somebody, again, that's usually not by accident or coincidence.
Yeah, although to play devil's advocate, maybe it's that they knew Charlotte was going to be unavailable. They need some baby face out there, because I mean, Asuka doesn't get that kind of reaction.
That's true. No, it's a great. That might be as simple as that. You're right. That is a very good point, because you're right. Asuka's a different kind of babyface with them. So
and Becky gets dark matches when she's not on SmackDown, because enough of the fan base comes out to see her that they need to put her out there in front of the people. But no, I thought that was good last night. Speaking of women's tag teams, backstage, Lana and Naomi still talking about the dance-off 6 weeks later. Interrupted by the cast of Glow, season 2 dropping on Netflix this weekend. Alison Brie's terrible Russian accent might be better than Lana's well-practiced Russian accent.
Bite your tongue, Rubenstein. go use a wipe, whatever those wipes are. What are you talking about? Lana's accent's great.
Well, but she remembers to do it.
You're the one embracing teen wolf, and when a guy's a teen and a guy's a wolf, she could be American and then she could be Russian.
True. She could switch.
If Finn can be Finn could be Finn, and then the we getting held up on an accent here.
That sounds like a Vince McMahon storyline. Like Lana, she's schizophrenic, and sometimes she slips back into this Russian accent. Complicated backstory, about her growing up in post-Soviet Russia. I think whenever they do these celebrity cameos, it's always awkward. I mean, I love Glow. I love all of the women that they had there backstage. But even with that, I was kind of like, oh, these feel so forced.
Where was Awesome Kong?
Yeah, I didn't see her.
Was she standing? I didn't see her.
She might have been there.
I didn't see her.
But what's weird, so much of the cast of Glow, because one, show takes place in the 80s, and two, they have these over-the-top wrestling personas. You put them just in the regular going-out attire, and you can't recognize 70% of them.
No, you're right about that. I was trying to match. I was trying to match. I remember who was who, but that's what I think made me notice. Well, where the hell's Kong?
Yeah. No, she definitely stands out. I wonder if she didn't. I wonder how her relation is with the WWE, because she probably doesn't want to do it anymore. I listened to her interview with Mark Mayron of all people, but I would think she would be a great, comeback for, if not a match, a cameo, something. She's still someone that the fan base likes. I think you never hear a bad word about her. She's one of the stars of Glow on Netflix. No, she's
pretty well liked. One or two times I met her, nice person, but she's pretty well liked, I think, in the business. I don't know what. I think maybe it's the fact that Glow and her acting career is taking off. So she's like, well, if I can make money and not having to bump, for real, then do it. But yeah, I mean, Awesome Kong. I mean, again, just because of her physical presence, you think, okay, Ron can put her with Asuka, put her with Ronda Rousey, more viable threats for these tough babyface women.
Yeah. So we saw last night James Ellsworth wearing Asuka's mask. Interaction with Ty Dillinger. Man, poor Ty. But at least he's getting some TV time. We had a confrontation with Ellsworth and Paige in the ring, and setting up a match between Ellsworth and Asuka next week,
which I'm really excited about, and I'm dead serious.
Wait, how long do you think that's going to go, that match?
I mean, they can probably get a few minutes of cat and mouse out of it. I don't know. I'm looking for as soon as Ellsworth came back, I was like, all right, I can't wait to see. And he just helped screw Asuka. I can't wait to see when Asuka gets to beat the living crap out of him.
No, I mean, good on him for extending this. And it looks like, if you listen to his podcast, not a one-off. I mean, until he's there, until he's not, basically. So they're giving him stuff to do.
Ellsworth has a podcast.
He does, yes.
Well, I fell out of the loop.
Yeah, everyone has a podcast now, Justin.
They do. I should have just assumed that. I wasn't trying to be shitty towards Ellsworth. I just didn't know. It's just tough to keep track of, I guess.
Yeah. Although now his podcast definitely, I mean, part of it is that we talked about this before. Guy, probably a model former employee, and how he went out and just kept putting the WWE over and thanking them ever since he left. There was no James Ellsworth shoot interview where he, name names and talk shit. So I think, he's very affable and very, positive in everything he has to say. But sometimes it always doesn't make for the best podcast.
Right.
It's just, oh, great people. Oh, I'm really happy to be working with them. Oh, it's really good. It's just kind of like, It's like fans know when we had Heath Slater on here. It was fantastic, but Heath so much could not say anything that would be remotely controversial, that just everything is just a overwhelmingly positive statement with very little substance.
Well, that's why if you're a talent, I mean, hell, you wait and do a podcast when you really know that you're done with your WWE runs. Not to talk crap on them, but just because you can just even tell honest, funny stories that you just wouldn't necessarily want to tell if you have to go back and look the bosses in the faces anytime soon. So, I mean, I get good. I mean, good for him for at least also, it's because some guys, when he got let go, when he did back in, October, November. I mean, some guys probably, could have gone out and been bitter, and like, oh, I had more to offer, and they could have been unappreciative. So good for him that he did stay appreciative and realized that he got way more of a run than anybody ever pictured.
Oh yeah.
Now he's back.
Absolutely, man. So last night we saw Andrade Cien Almas backstage with Zelina Vega, talking about they put Sin Cara on the shelf 3 weeks ago. Sin Cara, injured, so that feud ain't going nowhere. Said others in the locker room will stay out of the way if they know what's best. What do you do with Andrade Cien Almas at this point?
Well, you find him an opponent that he can build off of each week. I mean, this is a case I think of, and I understand fans' frustrations, but I'm just trying to put some understanding to it. I think this is a case, same thing with Ty Dillinger, where, people wonder, okay, why do they have these guys and they don't use them more? And I think you got to remember, look, TV time is what it is. You're going to have people that are going to be in multiple segments for multiple matches, and you're going to show replays. So TV time, gets filled up quickly. But you need to have these extra guys and girls to fill out the live events, to fill out, your roster, so that way you can get people in the building to have a full live event on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday in the SmackDown's case. So I think that's the case of Almas. They called him up from NXT, and they just don't necessarily have the perfect thing for him. So it's almost like rather than putting him out there with, wasting time against, in pointless matches or against, local talent jobbers, they're just doing these promos to kind of just keep people reminded of him and seeing him on TV. But really, he's being used for live event purposes. Same for Ty Dillinger, same for a lot of guys. It's just, they'd rather have more people around, so that way when somebody does get injured, they have somebody to plug in versus not having enough people and you running out of a roster. Again, I'm not saying it's fun and it sucks for those particular people, but I think that's just what the case of WWE is now. They have so much going on, they have to keep extra people around, even when they're not being used.
Well, I'll tell you, in their back pocket, they could have him answer Jeff Hardy's open challenge, and they could probably put on a hell of a match. Well, but then it's a case of, okay, I mean, it's no different than the Sanity thing. So then they come out, Jeff beats him. What does that do for Almas, who is brand new? So it's so it's, I mean, I guess at least you could say with Sanity, okay, at least all three of them got beat by three other people, and then at least in the one-on-one competition, technically. The guy from Sanity did get a win technically, so that's probably how they look at it, I guess, in the justification. I mean, also there are rare occasions. I mean, look at Sami Zayn when he answered John Cena's challenge. I mean, a match like that can, I think, make somebody while losing, and I think Andrade has it in him. Sure, it just needs the right opportunity. I know we're going to talk about this, as the news. Rey Mysterio is still not signed with the WWE, but I'll tell you, man, Andrade and Rey, I feel like would be pretty darn good. Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get that. I certainly expect Rey, having seen the cameos he made already this year, and I certainly expect him to, in lieu of this video game promotion, that we'll see him wrestle another match with WWE, whether it's at a Mania or a network special or something. So yeah, that could definitely be, if they build Almas up, they give him some momentum leading up to that point, that could certainly be something that is fun to watch. And again, they like to, if it's meant to target the Mexican market, whatever the case may be. But yeah, that could definitely be a match that I think is possible to see happen sooner rather than later, seeing that Rey is going to be working with WWE in some capacity again. You might have access to some more of this information. I can't remember where I read it, but if not the biggest, no, that's what I'd read in a few places, that the Latino market in America is the biggest single demographic consumer of WWE product. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I've heard that same thing, and I've read some other studies on that. It is. I mean, it's a huge market. I mean, it explains why they valued Rey very much since the point of when they had him after WCW went away. He was a huge. He was huge in so many regards. He was reliable in the ring. He was the great underdog story that was easy to tell. He sold merch to kids because he looked like a superhero. His name rang bells all through the Latino market. So yeah, it was, so then so that makes sense. And they went into Del Rio and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's a huge market for them. I mean, it's always on the periphery of conversations that they like to do a big event. I don't know about Mania, but they like to do a big televised event in Mexico City. It just, it's always just a matter of logistics and politics and security and everything else. And speaking to what we talked about the other night in theme songs, 619 is absolutely one of those theme songs that you can bump even if you're not a wrestling fan. Back to the theme songs. Come on. I only want it to happen when Matt's on. You have to one of these podcasts put on like Primetime Players or one of the ones you're talking about. We have to just see you. I want to see you like in your element, just jamming out to these songs. I don't think the people can handle it, Justin. Quite frankly. I think that's a challenge. Let's see. So let's not, Matt Morgan not here. I'm sure we'll get some heat for this, but go back to Monday's podcast. Matt dropping that he listens to the wrestling album and the wrestlers doing Land of a Thousand Dances. Well, no, didn't he say he listened to the wrestling album like when he was a kid? No, he was saying still sometimes. Oh, does he still? He comes back to that. So Matt, driving around bumping "Are You a Real American?" like just fist pumping in the air, Oh, I could see him walking into like town council meetings and stuff like that with some. Oh, that should totally be his entrance music for politics. And just in my vision of it, I know it's not true, but my vision of it, Matt Morgan's driving a Corvette, like, like a mid-90s vet, pumping Are You a Real American, driving around, just rolling down the window.
7 foot tall. You think he's going to fit in a vet?
It's not going to fit in a vet, but just in my mind. Because, you just got to complete the picture sometimes. We'll find out what Matt drives on Monday's podcast.
If I had to guess, Morgan drives the biggest tricked out truck possible.
With like spinning rims.
I don't know about that. Maybe not that.
Truck nuts on the back.
I can just see him, and he's got a truck that is not to be messed with. That's what I picture.
He's in Florida, so he's got like Calvin peeing on Alabama.
Now we're going into his window decals.
Yeah. Oh man. So the main event last night.
Daniel Bryan. So mad he missed this podcast.
Absolutely. Daniel Bryan versus Luke Harper. Man, this was something. We had Rowan interfering. This match went on for a long, long time. And then finally Kane came out and saved the day. Got a huge pop. Helped.
I had a moment where I thought maybe Kane was going to chokeslam and become like the big brother to the Bludgeon Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
I had a moment where I thought it before he struck Harper and Rowan. I had a moment of like when he was standing there staring at him, I was waiting for Bryan to slowly crawl in the ring and then Kane to turn and knock Bryan out. I had a small moment of it, but we got Team Hell No instead.
Do we have confirmation this was Glenn last night? They didn't just put somebody else in the Kane get up and send him out there?
I'm pretty sure it was Glenn.
Well, for a moment, I mean, we saw Gallows and Anderson backstage with Daniel when he was getting ready for it. Man, I feel for those guys. They just got a title shot. Like the only thing creative has had for them in the longest time, and that's over.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Again, I guess this is where we go. We have to make up our mind. We get frustrated at the 3-hour show of Raw, but we like the 2-hour show of SmackDown. But 2 hours is just less. I mean,
no, I know. Yeah. But I like the idea we were talking about last week. Maybe Shinsuke, maybe with someone. Having them as additional muscle. And with Shinsuke, they could call him Shinsuke because they're really into that. So
Shinsuke and a kennel from Hell match.
Oh, yeah, it's got Vince written all over it.
Need to dog.
So we got
the best story.
Oh, absolutely, man. So the end of this match, I mean, really was where it was at. And looking the shared look, Kane raising his arms, Daniel embracing him in a hug, Paige coming out and saying, hey, we're going to get Team Hell No versus the Bludgeon Brothers with the title on the line at Extreme Rules. I thought this match was great before Kane came out. I mean, come on, Daniel Bryan and Harper. That's Bryan Danielson and Brody Lee, man. I mean, these two guys with just such experience, such storied careers, working the indies and the WWE, seeing them do a match together was fantastic. And I think having Kane come out at the end was just a cherry on top for what should have been a complete throwaway episode of SmackDown.
Yeah, no, good match. I thought the same thing you did. Think about the fact that they obviously have some pre-WWE history and some great matches, and the fact that Harper can show off that he can work, like a smaller guy. It was a great match, and you did have a feeling. I don't remember exactly when it was. I did have a feeling of like, whether it was the start time of the match or just, it's like, all right, like how do they end this? Like this, because you figure, okay, he's going against one of the Bludgeon Brothers, so the other Bludgeon Brothers going to get involved. So it's either going to be somebody's going to come to save Bryan, but I had no idea who, and Kane was certainly not in my thought, or it was like, they're going to beat him down, and maybe the Miz comes out, and it's just going to be the complete, decimation of Daniel Bryan. So I was really intrigued to see how they're going to end it, and I was happy with the Team Hell No. Yeah,
man. Okay, so not the most critical episode of SmackDown Live ever, but with half the roster gone and with a couple weeks till Extreme Rules, pretty good, right?
Yeah, like I said, I think, I try to judge the show by go back to the segments and just look at the. You can just even read a recap. Really, just go to the segment and say, okay, was there any segment that was that did not further anything? We can say Sanity, didn't get help by getting beat, but it did something for Jeff Hardy. And I guess there's moments of Sanity look good, but like that's how I try to judge a show is say, okay, were things furthered and progressed?
Yeah.
And for the most part, I think it held up a pretty good test.
Hey, man, for me, as long as I'm entertained and feel like this is decent use of my time, that's the key. You know?
But yet you're not entertained by the accents of Lana and such.
No, I actually really, really like Lana a lot. I thought the dance-off segment was great. I just think that it's funny how she'll go back and forth to where you could think either thing about her. You could think like, oh, they dropped the Russian accent a while ago, or that, well, she's trying at least, you know?
Well, the moment that they put her on Total Divas and then we hear without it, it's like they kind of just had to go with the fact that she's going to be, Harvey Two-Face. 1 minute she's going to have it, 1 minute she's not. So.
I like your idea, though. That should be the story.
I'm all for it.
Yeah. That's a commitment as a character. I mean, if you were picking a wrestling character to do, I mean, would you pick something where it was like, I'm going to have to watch how I talk and talk in character all the time? I mean, go back to Enzo. That's not Enzo's real voice. Enzo still is talking in the Enzo voice now because that's what people expect from him. I think doing a voice affect like that, I mean, that's a commitment, man.
Yeah, well, think about the Macho Man.
Yeah.
Think about his entire career and how the way he spoke defined him. I mean, like, strain yourself nonstop to talk like that. I mean, like, I can only imagine what like he felt like at the end of the day when he was behind closed doors and could just speak normally. But I don't know. It's the same thing. You got to make a commitment. It goes back to the face paint thing. Watch the characters you pick, because you can set yourself up for a lot of preparation and a lot of make the days even longer. Face paint, got to get there at noon, put your face paint on. You got they want to do pictures at 4:30. Go get your paint on. You can't wait till 7. You got to get it on now. It's commitment.
I'm surprised there's not vets that are pitching like. So Vince got this idea for a character. He's always wearing athletic shorts and a hoodie. Looks like he always just rolled out of bed. That's his thing. He always just woke up in time for a match.
I mean, see, and this is going to be taken the wrong way, but everything you just described right there, like, is Kevin Owens. I like Kevin Owens. So before Kevin Owens gets mad at me, I like Kevin Owens.
He's slovenly. He looks like maybe he needs a haircut or a shave.
He's got gym shorts on and I mean, everything you just described was Kevin Owens. But anyways.
Cleaned up nice last night. Did you see the footage of him at his beloved Shania Twain concert?
I did. And tell me if I'm the only one. When I saw the clip, when I'm watching the clip and he's on, and the interaction with he and Shania on the stage, and then they start putting over like Braun Strowman, I was waiting to hear Braun, his music hit, him walk on the stage. Shania, you better move. You're going to get these hands. And then he choke slams Kevin off the stage in Montreal, and then he sings, Man, I Feel Like a Woman. I was waiting for it to happen.
I thought they were building to something similar. Kevin did not get to hear his favorite Shania song, but man, I mean that was an elaborate bit. Could you imagine? I mean, now Wrestling Canada is much bigger, but I think about a lot of concerts I've been to, and if they brought a WWE superstar on stage, 90% of the audience would just be like, "Who in the hell is this person?" Right. But I guess in Montreal with Kevin Owens, it kind of worked. Yeah,
no, because it did go on for. I mean, she pulled him. She pulled him out of the crowd. They walked all the way through. So yeah, it was like it was going to be a big setup to build to something. That's funny. That was cool. It was a good. It's one of those things that makes you smile to watch.
Hey, SummerSlam. I'm just saying. I can see Vince thinking today. So Kevin, we got you in one corner, and we got Shania Twain, and in the other corner we got Braun Strowman and Celine Dion. And you guys are going to just fight it out.
Vince doesn't know who Shania Twain is.
I think that's probably the last current popular female artist that Vince is aware of is Shania Twain.
No, Vince for music, Vince knows AC/DC and the things that he listens to in the gym when he works out. Have you ever seen Shania Twain in concert? I have. She's pretty good.
I've heard good things about her. She was married to Mutt Lange for a while, so I know her records. Even if you don't like her style of music, her records sound incredible.
How about she was married to Mutt Lange? How about they got divorced? He married the woman that he ended up having an affair with, or cheated on Shania with. Shania ended up marrying the man who was married to the girl that went with Mutt.
Yeah.
So basically they switched. That's insane.
Justin, this is like hanging out watching TV with my wife. This is the level of trivia, the walking Wikipedia of Shania Twain trivia that
I feel honored.
To.
Well, so if this is sitting around with your wife, then you should be comfortable around me to go ahead and put some wrestling theme music on and start.
That's true. That's true. We do sometimes rock out to that together. And then I go off of my tirade about how I hate Dolph Ziggler's theme, but it gets stuck in my head. I'm like, it's the worst song. Like, what were they going for with this? But it just like burrows its way into my brain, and it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't like the whole record scratch. It comes out to, I don't know. I'm over the whole thing with that. But
yeah, now I just think of Cricket Wireless every time I hear it.
Yes. My God.
They're still showing those ads.
Props to them. They hammered if they hammered Cricket Wireless. I already have a phone. I like. I don't know if Verizon will pay for us. I have a nice Verizon coverage. I will go buy a Cricket phone that I don't even need if it means they can stop running the damn commercials. I will get a burner phone. I don't even need a burner phone. I will get a burner phone if they would just stop playing the Cricket commercials.
So it's been about a year now that they've been running that. I mean, we'll see. I think that's probably in recent memory the longest running commercial with WWE talent in it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not even good. Mick Foley eating Chef Boyardee, that was fun, and I don't know. There's been some others of the history. This is just, I don't even like this one.
I guess what Rusev is doing, like a commercial for Publix or something like that, some grocery market.
Yeah, him and Lana are in a commercial. Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, but that's regional, so I'm not privy to that here in California. Instead, I keep hearing about pizza dropping insurance and that's damn Skittles box commercial that's been on the better part of my adult life. You
pathetic Californian, you're not deserve it.
What's up? Why did Bosley change their ads? That's what I want to know. Now Bosley's got the music and the effects. Bring me back Mike the engineer talking about I can mess his hair up if he wants to mess his hair up. They used to be the highlight of my week.
What are you talking about Bosley for? Talking about Dollar Shave.
That's true. It's true. Oh, man. Dollar Shave Club. Good luck finding that in a store. Oh, man. So WWE TV deals, speaking of TV and commercials, I think WWE commercials are going to get marginally better when they go to Fox in 2019. They announced the deal, 5 years, SmackDown going to Fox Friday nights, and it will be live, 2-hour show, and Raw staying for the next 5 years, starting in 2019 to 2024 on the USA Network.
This will be, WWE's never really had the situation where they've had the sense having Raw and SmackDown. They've always been under like the same overall umbrella. So the fact that they're going to be on two competitive, one's with NBC Universal, one's with Fox, that's going to be very, just and everything. You can think about anything. It's going to be fun, interesting to watch. Does both shows have, USA, they'll let them go to 7 minutes past the final, so will there be an overrun on both shows? We see
not overrun on Fox. The affiliates will revolt.
Okay. So you have that. What's the format's going to be? On SmackDown, we see picture-in-picture for all of the commercial breaks except for 2, so you can still see the match that's going on. So will we see that kind of thing? And then I think it was I want to make sure I give him credit. I think it was Bischoff. I think if it wasn't, I'm sure somebody will correct me. I think it was Bischoff who said it, and Bischoff, a television person who knows, and he's absolutely right. It's inevitable that you'll have, if they continue with the brand split, that you're going to have one show is going to have a star and maybe a new emerging star. Somebody's going to take off. And then you're going to have the execs on the opposite network going, well, hey, we want a little bit of that guy, or hey, we want this, or hey, how come this celebrity or athlete made this cameo that's all over the news here? We want to have that over here. I do feel like they could be setting themselves up for Vince is going to be constantly having to be stuck in the middle, appeasing both sides, both networks. I'll be really watching that come October of 2019 how that is, having WWE on two completely separate entities.
Yeah, we'll see, man. It's going to be a trip. I think very much at the start of it, SmackDown. I don't know. SmackDown right now, what they're doing is pretty darn good, but I would not be surprised if, Brock and Roman are still in the picture then if they do not get moved to SmackDown or they come up, sure, free agent John Cena will be making appearances for the first couple weeks. They're definitely going to load up the star power there. But with Raw, I mean, it's going to be so different having more of that balance.
And then we'll have to watch SmackDown come, they're promised Fox 52 weeks of live programming. So then when you get to WrestleMania weekend, I wouldn't be shocked because look, we all know that the final SmackDown before WrestleMania, you're not really gonna have much going on, especially if it was the Friday before Mania Sunday. So I think I wouldn't be shocked if they do something crazy come like WrestleMania weekend where, if they have to give Fox 2 hours of live programming, move NXT TakeOver, have it air live, have that TakeOver on Mania weekend air live on Fox Friday night, still archive on the network, and then move the Hall of Fame back to Saturday. I'd really be interested to see what they do because they're gonna have to do something to give them live programming. But I mean, what are you gonna have? Nothing's gonna happen of significance on a SmackDown 48 hours prior to WrestleMania. So it's almost like that's a waste of a SmackDown.
Well, don't tempt fate, man. Come WrestleMania 2020, we could very well see that scenario where I'm sure there'll be some stipulation. I mean, it'll probably be minor, not a complete match made, but stipulation, some shade, someone added something. There are things they can do, but it won't be anything major. But again, remember, they just, had an Undertaker match at this last WrestleMania that was never officially confirmed.
True.
Even going into Mania.
I'd be interested if they would be willing to move like a takeover, like I said, for a special situation like that.
Yeah, maybe.
To get the exposure.
Cool. Well, let's wrap it up here for today. We'll be back Monday night, talk about Monday Night Raw. And Justin, where can people find your stuff on the web?
At Justin LaBar. It's got everything for me. It's got my audio podcast. It's got CSR video clips that we do here for Wrestling Inc. It's got links, but I think we are sold out for our Something to Wrestle With show with Bruce Pritchard and Conrad Thompson here in Pittsburgh on Extreme Rules Weekend. So yeah, at Justin LaBar, best place to go. That's where you can find me and pester me. Excellent. I'm Glenn Rubenstein. You can find me on Twitter at Glenn Rubenstein, and appreciate a follow on there. I live tweet along with Raw and SmackDown, and oftentimes NXT as well. So until next time, folks, we'll see you back here Monday on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.